So I have a friend that was really struggling to play Armored Core 6 thanks to some misunderstandings about how the lock-on system works, and that's a pretty common complaint about the game. The lock-on system, it's not explained very well in the tutorial, and it's a little bit difficult to notice exactly what it's doing in the heat of the moment. So if you pick up some misconceptions about how it works early on, it can be very easy to stick with those misconceptions through to the point in the game where you really do need to understand how the lock-on works. So I just wanted to make a video like going over the basics of how the lock-on works. So we're here in the AC test room with some basic enemies over there. So the first thing we want to go over is you'll frequently hear this called the lock-on or the hard lock-on. What the game calls it is aim assist, and I'm going to be as careful as I can be to continue referring to this as aim assist, just so we're 100% clear. So normally, when we're just moving around and there's an enemy within our sights, the game is going to look for the enemy that's closest to the center of your screen generally, and then you can move the camera to change which enemy you're aiming at. It's great, and when you walk past enemies, like if they go off screen, they just go off screen. If you move too fast, and in the heat of the moment, given how fast the game is, it can be very hard to concentrate on the combat and evasion while also keeping an enemy on screen. Especially once you start doing things like assault boosting. Like, okay, well, now you're just screwed. How are you going to keep track of that? If we click in the right stick, let's get out of range of the target tracking. If you click in the right stick, that will happen. Those 4 bars on the outer edges of like the center of the screen. That's your main indicator that you are in aim assist mode. In aim assist mode, it works a lot like the first mode. You just move the right stick to change which target you're locked onto, and it's great. However, there's a big difference. In aim assist, the camera will do all of the work of keeping the enemy on screen for you, no matter how fast you're going. Even if you do something like this, or say we jump over them and that, the game will do its absolute best to keep that enemy on screen. This can get very alarming and confusing when you're moving at high speed and fighting an opponent like an enemy AC, because they're probably going to get very close to the edge of the screen. And my theory for why it works like this, that it doesn't keep them centered, that it just tries to keep them on screen, is that because things move so fast in this game, if it were to try to keep every enemy literally 100% centered, the camera movement necessary to do that would get pretty nauseating, I feel like. One thing about this lock-on, though, is if you try to manually adjust your camera while you're in this mode, it immediately breaks your lock, and the aim assist starts behaving just like it would if you were not aim assisting, until you release the right stick. So once you've turned on the aim assist, you don't want to touch the right stick unless you are trying to change which target you are aiming at. Otherwise, it'll do all the work for you. A good way to think about this is you've got, in the default controls, you've got quick boost on square, you've got jump on X, and you've got boost on circle, as well as the shift button on triangle, which you use for like, in combination with a weapon to reload your gun, or just to access like doors and that kind of thing. So a good way to think about it is that when you are in a serious fight against a serious opponent, you need to stop touching the right stick, because you need to be able to press all the buttons that get you boosted around, and all of your like quick boost stuff and all of that. instead of trying to deal with manually aiming. Now, there are some drawbacks to this. This is a really bad way to handle groups of enemies like this. Generally, I would recommend not using aim assist against groups of enemies like this, because say you get surrounded and you want to reposition. Say we're surrounded like this and we want to get past that MT. Just imagine that MT is a much bigger threat than it is. So we're going to assault boost. What happens? We assault boost directly at the target. And what happens if we're doing like a complex maneuver and we need to know the situation on the battlefield? Well, too bad. Your camera is targeting a single opponent because of the aim assist. So generally when dealing with MTs, which tend to be slow, they tend to be pretty stationary, they tend to not make very aggressive maneuvers, generally you want to be using your manual non-aim assist aiming with your right stick, because if you are assault boosting, well, it's that same scenario before, we want to get past that guy, so we're going to assault boost to do it. When you are not in aim assist, your assault boost goes straight where your camera is pointed, regardless of where that might be. But regardless of what you're doing when you've got aim assist on, your assault boost is always going straight at your current target. So that's probably the single biggest reason to switch between aim assist and not aim assist. And while we're here, let's go ahead and go over what your FCS actually does. So let's get out of lock on range here. Yeah, this is perfect actually. I've equipped this AC with a FCS that's really bad at long and medium range and really good at close range. I've done that on purpose for demonstration purposes. So let's see what happens here. So pay attention. You see that little click there where that crosshair went from white to red? Give it a second. We're gonna have to get closer like that. That is your actual target lock. Your crosshair will show you where you are shooting at. When your crosshair is white like this, you can see it barely tracks the enemy at all. It's kind of pointed towards the enemy. And fast movement will dislodge it from being fully locked on. The closer we get, it's gonna get into this red mode. Your FCS's stats are what determines, and in the red mode, it just stays on target 100% of the time. It is center mass all the time. And maybe they'll still dodge your shots. It's not perfect 100% accuracy. This doesn't guarantee that your attacks will hit. It just guarantees that you are aiming at the right place. But what your FCS's stats do is they make the transition from that white mode of the crosshair, where it's just kind of trying to aim in your target's general direction, to this red mode where it's completely focused on your target. It makes that faster. So if we disengage and then move we move our targeting cursor back, it goes red almost immediately, and that's because this FCS has extremely high close range performance. Now, give me just a moment. Another thing that's going to affect this slightly is when you are using aim assist. See? When you're using aim assist, it actually makes your FCS a little bit worse to compensate for it tracking the targets for you. This generally is not going to matter against single targets because you're going to acquire them and then you're just going to stay acquired. And that's just fine. It's not going to be a problem that your FCS performance is a little bit worse. What it does mean is if you are rapidly switching between targets, you'll get slightly better performance out of not being in aim assist mode, which is another reason that you want to be using your non-aim assist targeting mode when you're fighting multiple opponents, so you can quickly switch between targets as the situation requires. But yeah, just wanted to share this kind of information on how the aim assist mode actually works, because it seems to trip a bunch of people up, and I hope this information was helpful. Alright, y'all have a good day.